Hey guys, thank you for joining us. Today we're gonna go over some landmark blueprint and some work that I'm about to do in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy. So now I'm gonna give you a glimpse of behind the scene how a blueprint look like and what you need to pay attention to and kind of how to read it. What kind of the purpose, mainly the purpose of it, to show you that you don't need to be a builder or an architect or any professional in this field to read this. Is quite straightforward. Maybe some arrows and some blueprints kind of throw you off a little bit, but it's relatively simple, meant to everybody to read. And this house specifically is a little bit above the standard facade work. There is like 7 elements here that needs to be restored, from iron, stone, wood, brownstone, brick, so glass. So I think it's kind of an intrigue to see it, give you a glimpse of how the back office is part of the actual visual work that taking place. So I hope you'll find it very interesting. Please, if you have questions, comments, be happy to respond and get your feedback. And I appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. A lot of this educational information is more to come. A lot of cool stuff, things that normally people don't talk about or don't see it. Bring it out to you through my eyes, my vision, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's start. That's the house. That's the facade that needs to be restored. Now, this is a landmark approval blueprint, and I'm gonna explain it to you exactly how it works and what are the points you need to look. Now, as you can see, there's a detached house that used to be a semi-detached. On the left side, there was another house exactly with the same look, the same details, which unfortunately is no longer exist. So basically what Landmark trying to do is to preserve this house as independently and not tied together with another house. Now that will be the historical district zone, and they're gonna mark for you the boundaries of the historical zone your house in or your future house in. It's very important because the guidelines from here and a block away are completely different. And that actually, the guidelines that are in the boundary will require way more work and way more detailed work to bring back the historical facade look. Okay, so now we are getting into details. So here you'll have the recipe, literally the recipe of A to Z of each coat, each element that needs to be applied and how to apply and what parts to make. Water for mix, 6 parts sand, 1 part of lime, Portland cement. That basically give you like a cake, the recipe of how to finish the look. For this house, for instance, we have brick, we have brownstone, we have wood details to do, we have stone to fix here, an iron to fix here. So there's a lot of elements, and that will be pretty much the recipe of how to take care of those elements. Very important information that Landmark wants you to guide you through, and kind of a self-explanatory for every person of how those things needs to be applied. Another thing you want to pay attention to is the lot and block, and you see now the missing house that is no longer existing today, and that was part of a whole look back in those days. I think the photo goes back to 1900, and those a reason why they made those photos is for tax purposes, where they took photos of each houses in Brooklyn, because Brooklyn was not part of the New York City zone. And since they want to merge together, they want to evaluate the assets that Brooklyn have once they join together to Manhattan as under the title of New York City. So they literally went house by house and documented the properties that they are existing and evaluate their value, and then according to it, make the taxes, define the taxes amount for each property. So that's the photo, and normally Landmark, that's the starting point of, from there we would like to restore the same look of its original photo that documented back at the time. Now, you able to find more documents in the historical library in Brooklyn. They have, I think, almost all the houses records, the houses that built at that time, and it still exists, and they can guide you through. They have a full information about this whole Brooklyn history. So as you can see now, it is missing. We will need to restore this house to back to his glory with the exact same details. Now that's the house existing today, and as you can see, it's in a pretty bad condition. We have a missing brick along on the back wall that needs to be restored as well. We are missing some of the crown. I don't know if you're missing the cornice here is missing. The windows needs to be a landmark, and we gotta replace a new brick mold, power wash the brick, restore the brownstone. You'll see there's lines of brownstone that cross it. So it's very important to see and compare on the photos that Landmark took. This is actually Landmark took these photos and submitted to the committee. And now we have to pinpoint exactly which item are missing and what are the requirements. Now, another aspect that this photos is represent is how much you can see from the street view to the back of the house. So for instance, if you want to put an HVAC unit on the roof, or you want to make a roof deck, they want to make sure, in order before they approve it, they want to make sure that you cannot see it from the street view, and this way they be able to approve it or reject your proposal or your scope. So as you can see, the brick have paint that needs to be stripped. We need to do repointing, which is grout in between the brick and kind of a waterproof it a little bit better. We obviously need to change the windows, and we need to fabricate this cornice. Now the cornice have two ways to do it. According to Landmark, they either do a Dutch repair, which means that you take certain pieces or missing pieces and you just fill them up with wood, or you make a complete new cornice wherever it's missing. Now you can see here that most things that is missing is the awning. There was a beautiful awning above that needs to be refabricated to the original details. Same here in the back, they authorized to make a new opening for a window and a new door setup. They approved that because you can see it from the street view. So normally at the back, the rear wall is pretty much easy to work with, unless there's a certain angles that is visible from the street or the street behind, on the block behind it. As you can see, there is a rail that needs to be repaired and needs to be fixed and adjusted. So that's another thing. Another thing will be the brownstone damage here that needs to be repaired. We'll move on. Here you see that the missing awning here should go stick a little bit more to the outside. And that's pretty much the zooming into the details itself of how and what exactly needs to be repointed. So I will start with the top. So we have the top cornice that needs to be replaced and adjust. We have the bottom cornice. We need a Landmark wood finish windows and also shingles. We need a slate shingles, Vermont green. So they specify the colors, they will specify the shape, and you follow it. You see here how they mark this cornice that is no longer exists, that needs to be addressed. So each item have explanation, and it's pretty straightforward. You don't really need to be an architect just to understand that. If you are a fresh homeowner or a potential homeowner, you'll be able to go over this relatively quick and easy with no a third party that will need to translate this blueprint. If you go here, you'll see that the requirement for a new door that's specified in the page below how they want the door to be and which wood. And same thing goes for the awning. You want to make sure that you, especially when you fabricate it, there is certain grooves and elements that they want you to include on the fabrication of your new poles or pillars. Here is this details is the brownstone details that they want you to restore. And you see they just spend stone decorative details to be cleaned. Very simple. On the recipe, they explain it to you, and also there's a notes a page that will explain you exactly the procedure. Now, normally you would want to hire professionals to do it, but at least you understand the process and you're not clueless about this complex, because it is complex, especially in this facade where it involves few more elements, which is brownstone, brick, a lot of wood here, glass, doors, windows. So basically, and especially stone. So in this facade specifically, is a little bit more advanced work to deal with, and you want to make sure you got the right people to do so. And here we go to the door segment, and that's pretty much the explanation, and pretty straightforward. You have the scale, you have the measurement, and historic door to match original historic look, natural oak wood door. Now, normally they want you to do it in a paint or wood finish. It's really up to the historical zoning that you are, and actually the dynamic of the rest of the houses near you. That will be the awning that needs to be addressed. Same thing, they follow by measurement. They want you to details to be in the exact measurement, angle. So you have everything you need here. Kind of understand what needs to happen in order to make it work. That's zooming more to the door itself, giving you the paneling, measurement, glass, pretty self-explanatory. And this will be the vestibule door. So the vestibule door is the door that will be as a second door. They give you explanation too, just because here the first door have glass and you can see through. So the second door, which consider interior door, still include as a part of the facade work. That's for the hatch and the roof explanation, what's visible, what's not. More likely, this is more forgiven because it's not, people cannot view it from the street. So it's pretty straightforward. And here we have the stone explanation, the slate in this case. This slate have a certain finish, a certain shape. Actually, in this house, there's two shapes that they want you to combine. One is the rectangle and one is the hexagon. Now, you need to outsource this in certain places. Sometimes, I mean, if you're in New York City, it will be more rare to find. I'm sure outside the city, it's pretty off-shelf product that you can, and some companies will fabricate it for you. For this specific house, it's pretty beat up, and I'll go back to show you what I mean by that. So if I'll zoom into this photo, you'll see that this part of slate stones is missing completely. So we got to frame it out, create the cornice, and drop the ceiling, because right now it's a hole that is creating a lot of water damage to the structural inside the house. So that needs to be covered and then patch it up or close it up with the cornice that is missing. And that will be pretty much it for this facade. So yeah, I really hope you enjoy it. Please again, comment if you may. Anything you have in mind that left unopened. And so I know for the next videos too, I'll learn from the next videos, also a learning process for me as well. It's part of the journey. So I will try to share more of these projects, and sometimes I'm just bidding in a job, or sometimes I'm actually doing the job. So I'll be happy to make you a part of it. So let me know, and I'm gonna see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day.